to the welcome to the January meeting of the Needham Commission on Disabilities. We are meeting on the second Tuesday this month instead of the Tuesday to accommodate some schedules, but everything else is as regularly planned. I welcome you all to this meeting, and we're expecting a speaker, but we will go ahead and get started and come back to our speaker when she arrives. First order of business is a review of the minutes from November, which you all should have received in an email. Are there, oh, Alexa's not here.
Alexa's not here either.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Hi.
Um, hmm,
I don't
Well,
remember
we can-
receiving them, but I very well could have and missed it in the holiday flurry. So
She
I
did
don't
send them
believe
out.
I didn't review them then.
She did. We can keep going, and if Alexa's unable to do the minutes, we can try to pull something together from the video.
okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Maureen. You said you did not get the minutes?
I don't remember getting them, but I said I admitted readily that I could have missed them during the holidays. It was very hectic for me this year, so I may have missed them. I know that I haven't reviewed them. So
Yeah, she usually sends them out very soon after the
yeah,
meeting, like within a
I'll
day.
go back to my notes. Maybe I did because I like to read them right away and get any notes to her directly.
I'm here.
So-
Can you hear
Pull
me?
them up.
Oh,
I,
there she is.
Yeah,
I'm
November
happy this is
19th,
Lynn.
they went out.
Okay.
Hi, I think I see Alexa's trying to sign in.
yep,
I'm here.
can
I
you
just-
hear me? This
yeah.
is Lynn.
Yep.
Oh, hi, Lynn.
Yep.
I can see you guys, but thank you.
And Maureen, if you don't have them, just send me an email and I'll forward a copy to you.
Okay. Who knows? Maybe I did review them and I just don't remember reviewing them because it's been a while. So
Okay.
Yeah, I've been here for a while and nobody let me in.
Oh, so sorry.
Sorry.
Hello.
Okay, so
Mhm.
those of you who have looked at the minutes from November, do you have any comments, corrections?
Can you hear me? This is Paradis.
Yes, I
Paradis,
can,
we
Oh,
can.
okay. And can you see me too?
we cannot
No, we
see you.
cannot see you. I just asked you to start your video.
Can you see me now?
No,
It's this.
It looks like
It looks
it's
like the video
fine.
is on, but the screen, something might be blocking the camera.
Yeah, I think I got some updates. So yeah, I think there are some problems with my laptop. So maybe today you cannot see me. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you for joining us, Lynn. We were just talking about the minutes from November, and I'm asking if anyone has any comments, changes, corrections.
Well, good from my perspective.
There was a lot covered, and Alexa did a great job of catching it all, so thank you for that. If there are no changes, then I will receive a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Okay, so we do need to do roll call, correct?
Yes.
Tatiana,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Alexa,
Yes.
Party,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
and Jeannie says yes. They are approved. Thank you all.
I'm sorry, Alexa. I just saw your email. Like, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Next, we move to the chairperson's report. Thank you all for being flexible and moving this month's meeting to a week early. We'd like to do the same in March to accommodate Tatiana's schedule. So is that going to work for most or all of you, March 11th instead of the 18th?
This is Paradis. It works for me.
Excellent. Is there anyone who has a problem with that date? Wonderful. Thank you, thank you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Um, the next item from November's minutes, one of the items of new business was the idea of having an accessible Halloween event and being how involved in the planning of it. Um, I wanted to start by saying I'm a member of the Congregational Church of Needham, and for the past 4 years, they've been holding trunk or treat in the church parking lot, where people arrive in their cars in costumes, and um, people from the church and others, if they want, decorate their car trunks and hand out candy. Now, at least 1 year and maybe 2 years ago, they added what they consider a sensory-friendly portion of the event. And an hour before it's open to the general public, um, they have the same cars there, but there's fewer people, less noise, and those who are involved do not wear masks. Um, so it's an hour. So that is to address the needs of those with sensory concerns. I don't know if that is enough to address the need that was brought up in November for an accessible Halloween.
It was started to be for neurodiverse kids, but also kids in wheelchairs that can't climb stairs to trick or treat, which is most of Needham. So I think that that would solve probably most those two need groups, right? Because it would be flat in a parking lot. So they,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And it's run by the church, but they open it up to the whole community, and maybe we can just help them with the advertising of it before it happens in October.
Yeah, and promoting on our
Usually-
social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually at least a full week before actual Halloween. And I don't know how the dates run this year, but
This year Halloween is on a Friday.
it's on a Friday. So it would be the Saturday before, I expect.
Yeah, let me bridge that gap with the ladies that run it in town now, just because they're kind of aging out of their kids being too old to really run it, and they just, wanted kids to have somewhere to go, which is beautiful, right?
Karen, do you know if they have by chance approached Park and Rec about this?
I don't think they have. They close off a street off of Manning to do it, and then all the houses bring like tables to the sidewalk, and then they have some additional activities like I think like a bouncy house and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So I think they've kind of run it themselves and kind of funded it themselves to get
Gotcha.
permits and special detail.
I
Memorial
actually,
Field, didn't they used to do that in their parking lot? Do they not
Who?
do that anymore?
Who?
who's that?
Memorial Field, the parking lot. Didn't they used to do it there, the trunk or treat?
I don't
No,
remember that. The only other one I remember is St. Joe's doing it, but that was really for their students,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
for the general public.
Like the elementary school did it, like Mitchell did it when my kids were there, but that was all school specific. I think Officer Kelly, I think you worked that last like accessible Halloween event.
I did not. I think Officer Baranzi
Oh,
did.
Officer and Brandy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he brought Rocket, yeah.
Yes, somebody brought
Yeah.
Rocket. I
We'll
don't know.
go anywhere.
everybody.
We'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'll even bring the
Okay.
ice cream truck.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's neat. That's neat. I think that's a beautiful suggestion to try to move it to consolidate with the church. And why not? Like, why create something new when there's already a structure that might check those boxes?
Yeah, I have actually never attended the one at my church, so I don't know how much of the parking lot they use, but perhaps there's enough space that we could, even add some other events or something going on to, you know, not, I'm not sure exactly what that might be, but I would have to speak to someone to find out exactly what they plan on having, and maybe we can add to it.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I
That's
will follow up on that.
okay. Thank you.
The next item is a reminder to complete the conflict of interest training.
I sent the link out around November 18. Karen.
Definitely
Resend.
didn't do that training. Definitely needed the warning notes.
Those of us that are town or school employees, we probably already have done it because we're required to, but board committees and members also have to take it. So if you want me to resend the link, I'm happy to do that. So you can take it. It's they have changed it now where like you do have to recertify it every year if you're in compliance. If you every 2 years you still have to do the hour-long training, but now every year we have to take a quick like 2 minutes recertification saying, you know, I acknowledge that I'm still under these rules and whatever. So that was the reminder from the office of
Can I say something about it?
yes.
I did it and I got that certification, but the problem is that by mistake, I signed up with both my personal and work email. So because of that, I got reminders, you know, after even finish it, I still get reminders in my work email. So I don't know how can I also email them that it just remove it from your data, my work email.
Yeah, that is
So, I mean,
completely
I have
managed
the
by the state.
certificate, but I still get the reminders from my work email. So I email them, but is there any other thing that I can do just not to get reminders to my work email?
So I think you might need to contact the state because that's no longer controlled by each municipality. The state has taken that over and they're the keeper of the records. So
I
if
got
you
it.
want them to delete your email, your work email address,
Mhm.
or associated with you, then yeah, I would
Yeah, I already emailed them. It was an email in that email that you can email this address. So I did it just I wanted to make sure if there is any other thing that I can do. But anyway, I did the test and I got the certification. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, we will move on to the ADA liaison report. Tatiana?
Yes, hi. So I have a couple of things. Sorry, let me just I lost my place. One is that there's been a bylaw change. There was an increase to the handicap parking fine. It was $100 and it has now been increased to $200. And it was amended at the October 2023 special town meeting. So I just wanted to alert you because even though I attend every town meeting, I wasn't aware that the change was put through on the warrant. And so it was basically a reminder that we need to upgrade our systems to ensure that the ticketing system that we use, which probably Kelly can speak better about, is updated with the new information, and that the ticket itself, the printing of the tickets have to reflect the new amount. But I got that almost like the notice was about those two things specifically, and then I realized that I don't know that we were aware that that was increasing. So just wanted to make the commission aware that the fine now is $200 since October 2023.
And each
actually,
town just determines their own amount for the ticket, for the fine.
I'm
Does
sorry.
each town just individually do that? Because I was going to say Natick's has been 200. I know that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
so it's just interesting that we're increasing it to the same amount.
Yeah, and I think this was part of a number of fees and fines that were revised. Some of them, had spent years without anyone looking at them. So it is one of the many that got revised or updated. So yeah, the town does get to determine what the fees are. And I mean, I don't know if you had I think the tickets are, Officer Kelly probably knows better, but they're anywhere
Yeah.
from $25 to 30. They're not super expensive compared to Boston or other major cities.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was just their way to update, you know, the amounts, like to just keep up with the times, I guess. But like I said, I wasn't aware that there was an increase, so I thought it would be helpful to have the commission be aware that that the increase is now $200, which is great because all the money that is collected from handicap parking fines is put into our handicap fund grants funding, and so it helps us, you know, continue to help the community.
I wish there
Next,
was some way to, I'm sure there isn't, but I'm going to say it anyway, like put a sign, like a sticker or something on those signs for the handicap parking spaces that indicate, because people should know there's a really stiff fine that
Yeah.
comes along with parking illegally. In this case, it's very different than the other parking tickets that you're going to get. It'd just be good, I think, to kind of give people a heads up and say, this is really a major violation. You're going to get fined $200 for this if you park without a placard or a sticker. I don't know that there's any
actually,
way to do that.
Tatiana, I just spoke to Maureen and she's gonna try and sign on now. So I don't know if you
Okay.
see her trying to come in.
I do not see her, but I am on alert now. So
Okay,
I'll keep looking. Yeah, so maybe I can work with the director of communications to put something on the news you need them.
No, I'm saying on the sign itself, because people are going to forget that. Even if they read it, I just feel like I don't know that there's any way to do that legally, like in an official way, but I think it would be a good message to let people know that these fines are very stiff. This is a $200 penalty if you were ticketed while parking illegally in a handicap
Could we
parking spot.
do one of those alerts on the Needham Police favorite social media account? Because I feel like people listen to them.
And
People pay attention, yeah.
right. And if they get one fine, they won't forget.
No, they won't.
So
They
I mean,
get,
I
they
don't-
get
will
one
not.
break, so if they get one, Lieutenant Kramer will void that one ticket. They get one break, so a lessons learned on that very
Okay.
first one, so.
And
Yeah,
Officer
and
Kelly,
those,
go ahead, sorry.
and those tickets were, I was just as shocked as you were. As of a week and a half ago, it went up. The chief sent me an email and I made contact with the parking enforcement, the ticket machines. They've already changed it to $200. But our books, the orange books that the police officers use, the ones we handwrite, we have not received new books. So it could be a $200 ticket, it could be $100 ticket until we get our new books.
hmm.
Yeah.
It would
So.
be nice, I think, to use social media if it's allowed, Kelly, that to sort of send that out there, just if people should be aware that this is an increase that was just took
Okay.
effect and it's doubling the fine. And I don't know if that's something they would do.
I can mention that to my social media.
Okay.
Okay.
Maureen is joining as a panelist, and if you want, I can stop and then continue after she's done.
Hi, Maureen, welcome. What was your question, Tatiana?
Maureen,
I
you're
said because
muted.
Maureen is joining, I can stop and continue after she's
Oh,
done.
okay, great. Hello, Maureen. We're glad to have you with us.
Yes, and I apologize for being late. I had a off-site staff retreat today and it ended up running late and then there was traffic on top of that, so I apologize.
Perfectly understandable. We have started our meeting, well, but I want to backtrack and introduce the members so you know who you're conversing with. I'm Jeannie Martin. I am co-chair and my co-chair is,
I'm Carol Thomas. Very nice to meet you and welcome. Glad you could be with us this evening. And I'll hand it off to Maureen.
And Maureen Callahan. Yep, longtime Needham resident, have a adult son with autism. And I will hand it off to Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Morales. I'm a Needham resident and I use a wheelchair.
Hand
Alexa.
off.
I'm Alexa Moore, Needham resident who grew up here, moved away, moved back, now raised two kids. One's in the special ed program at Needham. And I'm also the secretary. So if you see me typing furiously, I'm just taking the minutes.
Lynn?
Yeah,
Well,
hi, I'm Lynn Rodman, longtime Needham resident. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
And I'm Paradis Springer. I'm blind and I'm using cane. And I'm Needham resident. Nice meeting you.
Stephanie?
And I'm Stephanie Wyman, a longtime Needham educator, now currently the Executive Director of Special Education here in Needham.
Kelly?
Hi, Officer Kelly Scopinetti, Needham Police Liaison to the committee.
And Tatiana?
And I'm Tatiana Swanson, I'm the town liaison.
So Maureen was the founding member of the Commission on Disabilities, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, many years ago, we worked to launch the group. Many years ago, a group of us who were dedicated to inclusion and accessibility, and really happy that you're still meeting, and we have a whole group of new people that are kind of taking up the mantle, so to speak, to make sure that some positive things happen in the community. So really happy to meet all of you.
Great. Now, Maureen had contacted us through the website saying that she wanted to talk about accessible housing in Needham or lack thereof. So I'm just going to give you the floor and let you go ahead.
Thank you so much. Well, again, really appreciate being here. Longtime Needham resident, grew up, born and bred Needham, and just, have a real commitment to the community. Attended all Needham schools and had a big family. And I came from my parents had 9 children, and I was the second of 9. So the Gallagher's kind of go way, way back. And just really committed on just many different directions for the town. Very busy in my professional life. I actually have a daughter with a developmental disability who's in her mid-40s now. And she went through special education in Needham. And that's how I learned to become an advocate, which it sounds like many of you did, either through personal experience or families or friends who had disabilities, and wanting to work with them and advocate with them on things that were important. Back in the day, we were doing a lot about curb cuts and accessibility in schools and things that have really been addressed over the years. And that was kind of our big focus back in the day. But now I've been the executive director now for actually 17 years for the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress. And prior to that, I was deputy director for Partners for Youth with Disability. So I was very fortunate to find a career in the field after many volunteer hours and advocacy as a parent. Decided that I'd love to have my professional life mirror kind of my newfound mission in terms of supporting and advocating for people with disabilities. And so as your children grow up and their needs change, you're always learning more. And one of the things that I know is a big thing, not just for people with disabilities, but there is a housing crisis, right, in the Commonwealth and in other areas of the country. So given those challenges, Needham is a beautiful town. It's changed a lot. And when I grew up, there were a lot of homes for, typical families, a lot of ranches, capes, colonials and things like that. But as we know, the value of real estate in Needham has grown tremendously. And I've been the beneficiary of that, but also very sensitive to the fact that people that grew up here, people with disabilities, families who maybe don't have the financial resources, can't choose Needham as their community. And I just really value diversity and having a real vast amount of people with different backgrounds, surrounding myself with. And housing has become something I'm a little more educated. I'm not an expert in housing, but it's something I have a strong interest in. And I was well, I guess we can't talk because there is a vote today. We can't get into the details from what I understand of that specifically, but that issue kind of piqued my interest, and that's why I reached out to Jean and said, is this something that the Needham Commission of Disabilities has a voice around? And are they working on accessibility in housing? And, how might the commission have a voice for people who don't have a voice around housing? And creating options for people to be able to stay in the community and find a place to live where, if they use a wheelchair or whatever, that they actually, can live in a safe, accessible environment. So I'm still kind of figuring it out as a parent and learning along the way, and just thought it would be a great topic. And Jeannie invited me to come to talk with you about the issue. And really, I'm just open to people's ideas and thoughts. And it would be great if this is something that we could work on together. Get a better handle on, what is available in Needham, how do people access it? Are there ways to think about advocating for more accessible housing, and what would that look like? So really, I don't have a specific agenda, so to speak, but really just to let you know how important this issue, I think, is to people who need accessible housing, and wanting to hear your thoughts and ideas, as well as, if it's something that you're interested in working on, I'd be happy to help in any way I can. So I'll just pass it back to you for any questions or thoughts that people might have.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was not knowing what is available in Needham, and I'm wondering how we could go about finding out what is available. I mean, not in terms of has openings right now, but how many accessible units are there and where are they?
I know those waiting lists longer than a typical list, because I know my daughter's been on a list for 10 to 15 years, and she hasn't even gotten a call.
Wow.
So I'm imagining that that's because there isn't enough, there aren't enough accessible units in whatever housing there might be. But anyway, yeah. So I know I work on policy for one of my roles at my work, and we work with legislators and policymakers on Beacon Hill. And just this past year, some of you may be aware, the accessible dwelling unit legislation passed. And that was a piece of legislation that I think a lot of cities and towns, I don't know how they weighed in specifically about it, but there were a lot of zoning restrictions in towns that have a lot of single-family homes, and accessible dwelling units would be like an add-on to an existing home, whereby you could build an apartment for an elderly loved one in your family, or someone with a disability who wants their own place, and but kind of needs the oversight of a family member or a caretaker or someone who's kind of close by. And I was just really part of being part of a number of leaders and advocacy organizations that really kind of push that forward to help with the potential of more units available throughout the state. So that's just brand new recent legislation, but that's kind of an example of something that a group of advocates from various organizations came together and kind of created that legislation. And that also had to do with zoning. So that's kind of on a higher level in terms of the whole state. So kind of looking both at kind of practical things that are available now and things we can do now, and also things we could potentially do in the future, and just, being that voice for our community, so that, people don't necessarily get up and think about this, right? If you don't have the situation, you're not gonna like, oh, you're not gonna be thinking about this all the time. But if you are in the situation, it can get frustrating and disheartening. And you can go years without the right kind of housing for yourself. So, so anyway, those are just some of my thoughts.
Maureen, I
Clearly,
think,
go ahead, Karen.
Maureen, I think you're really correct. When I needed to adapt to using a wheelchair, there were no options in Needham other than hoping that the abatement laws would allow for a really extensive, multiple hundreds of $1,000s renovation. And I don't think a lot of people are in that, have the ability to do that, right? So I think as we look at the next 10 years, you're going to see the boomer population go from south of 15% to 27% of the population. So if you just look at the 65 plus community, by 2030, they will be 27% of Americans. So if you are using that logic alone, you're completely right of how are you pressure testing a community that still allows for the young families to come in and do their tear downs and do whatever they are, but also allow people to grow in place, right? So I think you're bringing up a really well-timed commentary, and I'm not sure logistically how we go about solving that, but I agree with you. I have a personal stake in this issue as well. And I think we see that in Los Angeles. So I work in travel on the side, and the 12,000 people displaced in Los Angeles, if you statistically take 5% of them are ADA, there are 0 leases available. So their only home options are really long-term placements out of area, like different states or in a hotel. And I think that is something that we as a community need to think about, that as people fight whatever side I know we're not supposed to talk about that, but there needs to be some opportunity for people to downsize and go somewhere that enables no stairs, right? That's what a lot of people need as they get older. So I think you're right on. I don't know how, Tatiana, we ask these questions with like the planning commission or whoever is doing those sort of foresight things, but I agree with you personally that that's a thing and something that we need to think about, because a lot of us have parents that would love to stay in Needham and they don't know where to go, right?
And often oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to
I
say,
mean,
people with disabilities do better, and elderly people do better when they can stay in the communities where they have relationships, right?
100%.
So putting them in another kind of, not foreign, for lack of a better word, place, it's isolating, right? So
Definitely.
what the people with disabilities, the elder, they need a support system. And what better place to have a support system than a community maybe where you live for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I work a lot in the employment arena around people with disabilities getting jobs. And what we find time and time again is they're much better getting jobs in the communities where they grew up, where people know them, where they can, have friendships and things like that. So it's a lot to think about, but it's a tall order, right? It's not easy necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, clearly it's a timely and it's an important topic. And, I think Jeannie is right that maybe we should just start by, cataloging, what we have, because I'm not sure that that is really, that's available to people. And then how can we, advocate so that these waiting lists, aren't, so long. I have a mother who is elderly with disability issues, and there's the waiting lists are just so long. And there is some accessible housing, but I think it would be great to start by cataloging it, and maybe we could have a subgroup, of people who are interested in this, work on this, and we can sort of break it down, because it's such a huge topic, and we could break it down into some sort of manageable chunks.
I agree. I think I know some of that exists. Needham has a housing special. I don't know if that's her title, housing specialist. Karen Sonnerborg is her name.
Oh, I think
And
she's actually gone. We now have a new person called Allison Steinfeld, I believe.
oh, okay. But there is a person in that role that knows, as far as especially the public housing, Needham Housing Authority properties, what are accessible units. There's also other town-owned, leased units like the, I'm blanking on the name, the building right off of Greensfield, the apartment building that's right behind the playground. And, that there's a couple of other properties like that, this housing specialist might have a really good list of units that are accessible. So she would probably be a good place to start. If Tatiana, if you could share that, maybe email address or name.
Yeah, for sure, but I'm also wondering, does this technically, I mean, in Needham, there is a Needham Housing Authority. So
Yeah.
does this technically fall under their jurisdiction? Because the town of Needham itself has no jurisdiction over the Needham Housing Authority. I think Allison is a great place to start, but
Mhm.
just, just a lot of people don't, because in other communities, housing authorities sometimes are under the town. That's not the case in Needham.
I think the
So
problem is not just you have to qualify for quote unquote public housing to be able to access that housing via that path. But there are other people that need accessibility but don't qualify at that level. So it's just when we look at building, if we have new development, there should be some compliance legislation that enforces a percentage have to be ADA, right? For
yeah,
any new.
I'm looking online and there doesn't seem to be any language about that. There's no language about ADA compliance and disability availability and whether people with disabilities are prioritized or should they.
Yeah.
I mean, legally, if you're developing like a multi-unit building, you're gonna have to put I don't know what the law is, but you're gonna have to put a proportion of that to be ADA. So when and if we have more development in Needham, that will be a thing. And I think that's what we need to look at because a lot of people don't qualify for public assistance level housing.
Correct. I mean, there are a lot of resources on the town's housing page. A lot of information as well, but to your point, under planning and community development, it does have Allison's information as well, but to your point, it doesn't really talk about the disabilities portion of it, regardless of, income levels. But I will send around Allison's information. I'll initiate the conversation with her. I don't know, like I said, what the town's reach is with that, but maybe she has some other ideas.
Yeah, or maybe we could invite her to come to a meeting if she would be able to do that.
There's also the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Persons with Disabilities, and it's headed by former State Representative Denise Garlick. She's still the chair of that because it's an appointed position. It's not an elected position. So she is still going to be, at least for now, she's going to remain the chair of that. So I know that since she's been on it, since she's been the chair, there's been a lot of focus on employment. That's kind of been their focus. And I don't know what kinds of information they might have available, if they have any kind of directory or if they've made any attempt to collect some of the data that you've been asking about, Maureen. But I can share that contact information with, there's a staff person, there's an executive director of that commission that used to work right in the office for Denise, and I worked with her. So I can share that, and she might be a good person to reach out to and have a conversation with about that.
What's the name of the commission again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
It's a long one.
Denise
It's
chairs.
the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Persons with Disabilities.
Yeah. And maybe the MOD may have some resources as well.
And I haven't contacted them for a long time. But they used to have, if they still have it, is the Architectural Access Board that did a lot of they were pretty ahead of the times. They really advocated for, accessibility and following codes and making sure that people that were following codes actually knew what they were. And, I don't know if they still exist, but years ago, I used to actually talked to them quite a bit. But yeah, so there's certainly a lot of information out there, and how that would be relevant to Needham and any advocacy we could do moving forward, just to keep it on people's radars and not have it, have a meaningful way to move forward to provide these accessible units. And I love that you said, Karen, about the elderly community and how that's going to be an increasing portion of our population. We all know that as people get older, they often end up coming into the family of people with disabilities that they, due to health reasons or whatever. So, and we always used to say when we were, advocating for accessibility when my daughter was much younger, and still even today it's true, is that everything you do to do with accessibility, and I'm preaching to the choir, it helps everybody, right? It helps the moms with strollers, and that everybody benefits. It's not just, it certainly benefits people that need that physical access, but it makes life easier for a lot of people. So it's important to continue to work towards it.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I think it's important, and maybe it's good timing with however it proceeds. There will be more development in Needham at whatever level, and that's something certainly to think about.
Yep, I think it's very good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of write-ups in the paper recently, and Needham's starting to come into the conversation. So that's kind of what spurred me on. I thought, well, gee, maybe this would be, reach out to the folks that from the commission. Yeah, it's really great. Great to meet all of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, and we'll be in touch with you about the kind of information that we can gather and then how we can disperse it to the community.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time.
If there's nothing else, you're welcome to stay for other items on our agenda, or if you have to go, we understand that as well. We were in the middle of our report from Tatiana, our ADA liaison. So we'll go back to you, Tatiana.
Okay, and I will drop off because I literally just got home right before so I have some family things to tend to. So again, thanks for everything, and I look forward to being in touch.
Great, thanks, Maureen.
Okay, bye-bye.
Next up is I share some information regarding a disability film series that they're hosting in Needham. That email went out on January 2nd. It is being put on by the NEC. Not sure exactly what that is, but it's free to attendees. And so the person that shared this, I've actually gotten this information from a number of different sources, directly from the woman putting this, play on. It was shared with town management. It was also shared with the economic development manager. And they all, shared these three series of films that they're going to be, four rather. One already went by, January 8th. Then there's another one on February 11th, March 12th, and April 3rd. Aside from the information, the person who's organizing this wanted to see if the commission will be interested in partnering with that organization to share the information on social media, promote this event, attend the actual film festival, and just in general getting the word out. So I put it out to you on an email as well, but of course we need to wait until we are in the meeting for discussion. And so just I want to see if we can talk about it and if anybody's interested in attending and or assisting with the promotion of this film.
I read about it recently, and it was either in the Center for the Heights catalog or the Needham Adult Ed. It was listed as one of their
Community
events.
education, yeah.
So, I mean, that was a good start for them getting some PR on it.
Yeah.
And I attended last week's film series, and it is also being publicized through the schools. It is the movies are geared towards young adults and adults. So our high school is also doing a nice job promoting the content of the films, I would say, is more geared towards adult content. But it was they had a nice turnout last week. I would say there was probably about 50 attendees, and they have a panel after each movie with questions and answers from the community.
So this is the flyer. As like I said, there was a movie on January 8th, like I mentioned. There's another one on February 11th, then March 12th, and April 13th. They are all taking place at the Newman Elementary School, is what I understand. I'm actually out of the country February 11th, but I think if the commission agrees, we can definitely put it on our page, on our town page. And then I don't know, this is in Needham, and I believe it has already been advertised through our social media, but I didn't know if the commission wanted to or I had any ideas for any other type of advertisement or promotion, or if anybody wanted to attend the screenings.
It's almost too bad that we weren't asked to help sponsor it, because it would be lovely to see us down at the bottom of that page with the other agencies in town, because people don't often know about us. But maybe if they continue it next year.
Well, and I think that's exactly it. They are asking if you wanted to partner with them on this now, so that there is an opportunity to at least sorry, I can't stop sharing. There is an opportunity to partner with them now.
We could split it if people were interested in doing that. We could split it up and have two people attend each of them and do like almost like a little sign with Needham Commission on Disabilities, like a table at the front. So in case people have follow-up questions, it would be like a smart marketing move, right?
Right. And so who is asking us? Who reached out to us?
Was it this?
Yeah, the woman's name is Jen.
Yeah, she's the head of the Needham CPAC, like parent.
Shaq Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe she's affiliated with the Needham Education Fund.
And with CPAC,
funding.
right? You said?
Sorry, am I still sharing my screen? Can you guys?
You
see
are,
me?
yep.
I can't get rid of it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you did. You got rid of it a minute ago.
Then it came back.
Yeah.
The film series was funded by Needham Education Foundation. It was through a grant.
This is Paradis. I also emailed them because I thought that they may want to hear, because it was about disability. I thought that maybe I would be helpful to attend and give my opinion. But apparently they didn't want it. They said that it's not possible. We can give you one alternative to, for example, after everything, then we can ask you if you want to add anything. And, the way, just politely, they said no. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that it could be helpful. A person with severe disability. I thought that, I could give my ideas, but yeah, they were not open to it, to be honest.
How about
no?
how about if we develop a slide that see if they would be helpful, if they would be open to running it before or after the movie, like they do in the ads at like the movie theater, that just is like, in partnership with the Needham CPAC community, the Needham and Commission on Disabilities is always interested in your feedback on how to make the community more inclusive. Like we have a general email inbox, or we could have a link to our website for more information. Like something like that would probably be even more effective than a booth, right?
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. And just to connect people with what we do, and that we do advocate and we have resources.
Let's do that. I can like mock something up, Tatiana, that's ugly, but maybe there's someone at town hall that could like add the real logo and, put it in like whatever your Canva template is or whatever you use for graphic design internally. I think
So
that's possible.
this is a slide to add to their panel talk after the film.
You know how when you're sitting waiting for a movie to start, there's usually something on screen that's like
Like a slideshow that's
like
just
a
sort of
slideshow or
repeating.
something. It's
Or information, just
Yeah.
static, up there.
like a static
They
one.
They didn't do that at the first film series,
they
not to
didn't.
say that they won't, but I guess they did have a table where you checked in. So you could potentially put some information there, maybe, or a flyer or a connection to your meeting dates or something like that. Like I think that
Okay,
might
that makes
be
sense.
okay.
So
Do
I
you
think
want
I think
email?
that's great, and we could put something together for them to display, but I don't know that we can, I mean, I think they're looking for us to sort of return the favor, like, we're just like, yeah, no, it's great what you're doing, here's our information. But how can we help them promote this series, or I don't know. I think
I mean-
parties, it sounds like parties try and they said no, but
We can
Well-
promote it, but like they have access to the same social. We don't have like a large.
You don't have a
community
distribution
that-
list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who to
we don't
share
have
it
an
with.
email
So
list to share it with.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
flyer that you posted, is that around town? Because I certainly haven't seen it. Is it just they need manpower to post the flyer, maybe?
Yeah. What is the ask? I think we need to be a little bit more clear on what is the ask.
yeah, I mean, that is sorry, I closed it because I was trying to close everything because I couldn't stop sharing.
I mean, I'd be happy to post some flyers if that's all they're asking for, but
Or maybe somebody
Um,
could call, is it
if
Jill?
you-
Maybe somebody could just call
Yeah.
Jill and talk with her about,
That's
what are
fine.
they looking for? What does she have in mind?
Sharing flyers in newsletters and social media, and making an effort to attend the films with your board members.
We could organize someone to go and be at the booth like for the 3 additional nights. You could include it the week before every one of these events in the Needham Town News, right? The email that goes out.
The news you
Yeah.
need them.
The news Needham. We could, if they're not posting it to Needham Town Facebook group, we could post it on their behalf if they don't want to post it themselves. Like that's easy enough to remind people that the next movie is out. If you want to email me, Tatiana, on the side, Jen's contact information, I can just like put together some bullets for like how we could support them with marketing.
great.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, parties, did you speak directly to Jen, or was there someone else that you spoke to?
And I spoke with Andrea,
Andrea.
and yeah,
And she said she said very politely no.
Yes. She said that I can't read the email again, but she said something that I said that I can, maybe as a person who I'm severely disabled and I have been in different countries, I can give my ideas, because I really thought that they want to hear, ideas a disabled person. They said that we cannot do it, but instead we give you another alternative, which we can at the end of our program ask you if you want to add anything. So I thought that it's a polite way to kind of reject, and so I didn't participate it.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And then the update on accessible sitting at sporting events. Want to say it was before the break. A number of town officials, including the town manager, assistant town manager, director of DPW, assistant director of DPW, director of facilities, myself. That's all the people I can think of. We went over to Memorial Park Field to figure out where could this happen, and I think the consensus was that the platform that needs to be built in order for a wheelchair to fit on that bend in the path. I hope people know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Will need to come out very wide onto the side because there happens to be a pole right in front of that spot. And so in order to accommodate someone in a wheelchair plus their companions, we will need to like extend that platform all the way out. And so that might take a little bit more time than anticipated. So they did talk about a number of ideas. A lot of them don't work, but I believe they're still sort of working on it, but I think they'll either remove the padding or raise the platform, and they're working on funding for the solution. So it is being talked about, it is planned, but I don't have a timeline for you at this time.
And so is that something that doesn't need to go through the trustees of Memorial Field if I tell the folks that? Or do you need funding, and would it be helpful if you got funding from the trustees of Memorial Fields?
I believe that they would need to speak to the trustees of Memorial Park. I think it would make sense to.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, this is kind of a public works project now.
Okay.
So
Well, that was great. Good job. Thank you.
Yeah, no, they did, they definitely, we did talk about a number, it was one of those really cold days too, but we did talk about a number of solutions. And I thought it was just as simple as, flattening that area and creating something with some sort of, barrier or something. And that pole is huge and is right in front of it, so it will need to be extended even more. And so I think that's causing some complications with grading of that hill and everything. I was actually, I've been there before. I've never seen a game before. I think one time when Bobo was playing Nita, but I didn't realize that there is no sitting, that people stand up the hill. So I couldn't quite wrap my head around when you guys were talking about the issue. I'm like, there must be there must be a place, and there isn't.
No.
It's crazy. So, but they're aware, so that it's in the plans, and as soon as I hear more, I will share it with the commission.
Okay, thanks.
Last, we did talk about at the last NCOD meeting about the Needham Mobility Planning and Coordination Committee. And somebody had asked if we could, have a member of NCOD participate, because he does talk about mobility and transportation and planning within the town, but we don't have representation. I inquired with one of the town members that are, one of the town staff people that are part of the committee. And although we can't say a member of the Needham Commission on Disability will join, because they will have to change the town charter for that, because this committee is appointed by the select board. There is a vacancy that is at least listed online, but we don't have confirmation on whether the vacancy is still available. But if it is, any of you as town residents could join. So, and that will be the same process that you went through to become part of this committee, apply online, send your letter of interest, and so on and so forth. So I will confirm when I hear back of whether that vacancy has been taken, and if it's still available, like I said, one of you that are Needham residents could join in the same manner that you joined us.
Okay.
Deanna, could you get a broad description of what the responsibility is and what that group does specifically? Because I'd just be interested.
So the mobility the mobility planning and coordination committee, it's a very fairly young committee, but it was established in 2023. And what they do is they recommend policies for the future of mobility related infrastructure in town. So they complement, or they're a companion to the Transportation Safety Committee. And so what they do is that they review plans for like bike paths, traffic, speed management, transportation safety plans, pedestrian plans, etc. And they make recommendations specific to what areas should be developed, or what else are we not thinking about. they also sort of work on planning and transportation for for long term. I'm just like going through the website right now. They meet monthly on the second Monday of each month at 6 o'clock. It is a hybrid meeting, so you can attend in person or via Zoom. And basically they're tasked with sort of advising on the town's long-range plans for transportation and mobility within town. So I'm sorry, I'm not remembering who brought it up, but having a person from the Commission on Disabilities, I think would actually make all the sense in the world, so that, you know, that angle is considered at this when we're doing this planning for transportation. Since this committee was appointed, you know, created and appointed by the select board, like I said, just having one of us join is probably gonna require a charter change. So like on the website, they do list a vacancy, and as soon as I confirm whether that's still available, I'll let you know, so that if somebody wants to, you know, join and represent the interests of the Commission on Disability, I think that will work. It is composed of, you know, 7 residents and 2 town staff members that are non-voting members. And one of them is the DPW director, Carrie Slustig, and the other one is the assistant planner, Alex Klee.
Okay, thanks.
So
So
you're
that's all
finished,
I have.
Tatiana?
That's all I have.
Okay, we will move on to updates. And first is the autism welcoming training. Maureen, I think you have some good news for us.
Yes. Hallelujah is what I have to say. That is that it finally happened. Valente Farms has been in, which they should have been, was directly in contact with the Advocates, which is the agency that provides the autism welcoming training. So they've finally got a date, and I don't even actually have it in front of me. I did send it along to Carol and Jeannie, but it's coming up end of next month, I believe. I think it's February 25th. So that's all set. And they're going to be, I was thanked them profusely for kind of sticking with it. And I also said I'd be really curious to hear their feedback once they've undergone the training, and asked if they could take pictures, and asked if we would please, you know, be able to share that. And so if they, hopefully it's a positive experience and they feel like it's time well spent. And if so, then we'd really like to, you know, put it out there and let other businesses know, and hopefully their story will encourage others to do the same. And she was totally open to doing that. So that's great. So we'll see how that goes. Common Room, I still have not, I don't have any definite date from them. So I think they've been busier in this first year than they thought they were going to be. So I think they thought there'd be a break, and I don't think they've had any kind of lull. So I'm going to continue to reach out. Michelson's has just been really not, like, I don't think it's going to come through for Michelson. So I think I'll just continue reaching out to the Common Room, and then see if we can get them going, because they really were interested. It was just a matter of finding the right time for it.
So Maureen, just curious, they would expect the town to cover the cost, right, as advertised?
We had,
So,
we had agreed
yeah.
to doing that. So
in February 18, which is our next meeting, that still give us enough time to vote on having the commission fund this? Which I believe, I have to go back, but I believe we're funding it from our budget, right? Or
Yeah,
are we funding it from
we
the
have money
grant?
in the budget to do that.
Well, I only bring that up because I know Parties has a request as well, and that would exceed our budget, but I'm trying to remember whether, I thought that we decided to treat this as a grant, so we would pay for it out of the grant funding, correct?
That's what we talked about initially, yes.
Okay, so we're good. So yeah, if you
But they
can
have
give
to
me,
apply for the grant, right?
when we were initially talking to local businesses, we really said we would cover it. We didn't make it at that
Yeah.
part of the deal. We
And
kind
how
of
much
said
is
we
it?
would.
Remind me.
It's
500.
$750. It started
Oh.
at 500, but they started then realizing that they were undercharging because it wasn't covering the cost of the trainer and the materials that you get and things like that. So she had reached out and said, would we be able to do that? I had said, I think our first, and they had sent something through, like an invoice, but I believe that was for the common room, so I don't think anything's really valid on that anymore. I had said we would like to hold them to their initial, fee of $500. But she really didn't respond to that. So I think we I think we might have to pay the $750.
But what we're saying, we shouldn't have to make them write a grant. Can't we just,
Yeah, I don't want to have to do that because we're really
Yeah.
trying to encourage them
I
to
believe, we can look back at
pilot it.
at the minutes, but I believe that we decided to waive the grant application. And instead, treat it as a grant, but without the need to apply and be subject to approval. But in order for me to disperse funds, I need meeting minutes that state that you all voted to do this. So at the February meeting, we can put it on the agenda that we need to vote on the disbursement of the funds for this purpose.
we can't do that now because it's not on the agenda?
It's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I
So-
mean, the vote isn't on the agenda, but the agenda item about the training at Volantes is on there.
So yeah, so couldn't we make, because the agenda item is on there about the training, couldn't we make a motion to, pay for it as, previously agreed?
Using grant funding, our grant pool or money funding source.
I
What?
don't know. Because you are awarding a grant, I do believe that has to be its own.
Oh, I see, because it's not, yeah.
You are
Because it's not within our budget.
dispersing
If we're
Correct.
funding it from our budget, we could just vote, but because it's a grant, yeah. All right,
You're
but we have
dispersing
time to put it on
funds.
the agenda. Okay.
But like I said, you still have, because we'll meet again on February 18. It could be
Yep.
its own item on the agenda. There could be a vote, and then we can disperse the funds based on the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have to go through my own internal process when funds are dispersed, and that's the first thing they ask me for is the vote. So, okay, but yeah, cool. If Maureen, if you can, if when you have confirmation, it is definitely on February 25th.
I'll go check my notes. I have the date. She had the exact date. It is confirmed. It's on the books for sure. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Great. And more good news with the Good Neighbor Award. Karen, want to tell us about it?
Oh yeah, it was given. They were really excited. The only bit of sad news is Daniel and his mom and his wife sold the nail salon to somebody like a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. So that's a bummer. I don't know who they sold it to, but they were really sweet. And Kelly was there too with Rocket, and it was nice.
Those
He's a
pictures
really-
are great.
Sweet man, right, Kelly? Like he's so nice.
You're on
He's on
mute.
mute, yeah.
Karen, they probably sold it because they were expecting a baby.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's probably the plan, probably just to raise a family and sell the business. I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised to hear that news too, but yes, a very nice guy.
Mhm.
So
That's
hopefully-
excellent. Thank you for saying that all the way through.
Yeah.
So what is the next step for our Good Neighbor Award?
We have to promote it a little more for this year. It's just give me a week or two to write like up a survey. It's been wildly busy like it is for everybody back to
Wait,
school.
Are we gonna have like an application, Karen, for people that want to
Yeah,
nominate
some kind of form
a
to
business? Okay.
nominate. Yeah. I feel like we picked the good right one though, because even in their goodbye, we sold it email, there were like so many posts from other people saying you were great with my mom, you dealt with my, elderly parent, you helped people get the ride, you dealt with the death. Like it was really sweet. So we need the next one like that. So
Okay, good. So we'll
Great.
put you on the agenda for, you either, circulate, or we'll put you on the agenda for next month for
sure.
the application.
And the letter has been sent to the shops in Needham that,
Oh, I had requested that we put this back on the on the meeting because I just wanted to confirm that this is what you sent me, Karen. That's I'm putting that on letterhead and sending it off to those businesses. And I just didn't know if I don't remember what the conversation was around it, but I just wanted to confirm. That's all we're doing is we're taking your letter and sending it to those businesses that you listed.
Yeah, because you could find the like who actually is the owner or registered in the business, so you would be able to send it.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. So the letter has not been sent.
No,
No.
Oh, okay.
So Tatiana has the names of the businesses and the draft letter that we did last spring. I don't have access to like who is who's registered behind those businesses or the building. So that's why it was going to go from town hall.
So you want the letter to go to the owner of the building or the store rather than like the manager? Is that the kind of holdup? Rather than just sending it to the business's address, are you looking to send it to like a landlord instead of
I'm leaving that up to Tatiana because
okay.
it also needs to be like shouldn't be from Karen Morales. You know, that's weird.
right.
Well, I mean, it will be from the Commission on
Yeah.
Disabilities, but actually, I wasn't like, did we vote on this? Like, that's I had no background into this, so I wasn't, maybe
We
I forgot,
did
but I
this
was.
in like last April's meeting or
Yeah.
March's meeting.
Yeah.
And like I sent the list and the letter then, and I think we've just all forgotten. So I guess we could go back to the meeting notes and see what happened last spring. I defer to anyone else on what who to send it to. I don't know the answer to that or what the records say at town hall.
I mean, why couldn't it go to both people? I mean, I think we could
Yeah.
send it to the address and the manager and then, you know, the landlord, because they would need to work, you know, together on whatever the issues are, but it impacts the business, so I think the owner should know. And I think we did approve this. I mean, we talked about doing it. We
I
agreed
do
to draft a
too.
letter, so
Yeah.
you know, it's just a matter of sending it, figuring out who it needs to go to and sending it.
Okay, and again, are those the only businesses that we're including?
Those were the ones that we had identified last year that were downtown that have like foot traffic in a commercial area from Alexa and my like visits downtown. So let's just do those to start. We
Okay.
want to complicate it.
I think it'd
Like,
be good to do a pilot and just sort of, you know,
Yeah,
pilot this with a
exactly.
few that
Yeah.
we know have issues and then see how it's received and get some feedback and do some follow up.
So I'm not seeing anything on the minutes, but I'll go back and find it. But I think the commission has to vote for me to be able to send the letters. Like that's what I said. Can we put it back on the agenda because I don't recall us voting on
Well,
that.
we agreed to do it. I'm not sure that I don't ever recall voting on it, but we agreed to do it. We agreed, Karen took the action item to draft the letter. We agreed to do it, but I don't know that we ever voted on it.
So we can vote now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Can I receive a motion to move forward with sending the letter that was drafted sometime in the past
Yeah. To the identified businesses.
to identify businesses with access issues in downtown shopping area?
I'm gonna try to see if I can find it. So I can put it up and share that.
I was trying to look too, but
Yeah, I remember
moved-
because Jeannie and I just went through all the minutes to write our report. So I do remember seeing it where we talked about it. We agreed on that action item.
Yep.
And we sent off, you know, Alexa and Karen to identify the businesses.
Okay, can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see the email from Karen? Okay, and it says, dear Needham Business, on behalf of the Commission on Disabilities, we're doing a town audit for access in downtown businesses. We're a volunteer appointing committee that serves to address the needs of the disabled members of the community. We are recently completing an audit of the downtown businesses for accessible entrances. We noted that your business does not have a visible accessible entrance. We wanted to ask if there's another way to enter your established. If not, we understand. We have seen some innovative accessibility programs in other communities and would love to talk to you if you're open to hearing about them. Kind regards, Karen, committee member. And these are the businesses, Shop Mickey, Pura Vida, Tin Rabbit, Lola Tortola, Vintage Finds, Bagels Best, Needham Ball Away, and Bliss Men Orthodontics.
Bagels Bash should be removed from that list because they have a lift. As soon as you walk in to the left, there is a lift. So they are accessible.
That's good.
Okay, so if you want to entertain a motion to send these letter to the businesses minus Bagels Best
And Vintage Finds is gone.
and Vintage Finds.
Yeah, they are closed.
So yeah. There's your motion.
Lola
I second it?
Tortola has been gone a long time. That's another one that should be removed. That's in the same space now that Needham Upholstery is in. So you might want to just put Needham Upholstery because it's the same. That's the space they're occupying. And they're the current business occupying that.
And I believe that the owner of the buildings owns all those. One owner.
Yeah, I think so, but I can find out. So no Bagels Best,
No Vintage Finds. And
and
change
no Lola Tortola.
Lola to
Needham
Needham
Upholstery.
Yep.
Is Shop Mickey still there?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are going to vote on this, correct?
Yeah, so you need a motion to
So I
send a letter as drafted to the businesses as listed.
I make a motion to send a letter about accessibility to the Needham businesses in Needham Center that are not accessible.
I'll second.
Great. And I will take roll call. First with you, Tatiana,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Alexa,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Jeannie, yes.
Artists.
And has
Yes.
passed.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to Pardee, the program sponsorship.
Yes. I sent you an email. I hope everyone received it. We talked with Aisha. We decided to have a I suggested different topics to Aisha about, for example, orientation and mobility, assistive technology, devices that seniors can use seniors who are visually impaired can use in their routine life, or other things like, for example, independent living, entertainment. She said that they have done some other meetings. They focused on things like assistive technology, and she really liked to work on entertainment. And we can explain to them how, as a visually impaired people, they have options like other people to entertain themselves. It could be, for example, games which are in braille or tactile, or any facilities here nearby. For example, some programs Carroll Center has, like Sail Blind, which I also participated in spring and summer. Which was free for us, and we went sailing. We didn't need to sail. We had professional captains. We enjoyed it. So there are. She suggested to talk about entertainment mostly. And also we talked about, she's believed that if we offer lunch, it's good to attract more attention. And she said that we need about $10 per person. I thought that maybe 35% is good to manage for it, plan for it. She said that she can also, senior center also can help financially, because she said she prefers even more people attend, but she said that they can pay some of the expenses. And I had to have a meeting with Carroll Center, Michelle Georges, but it was because of some problems. It was canceled today. So I may talk with her tomorrow. Any decision we make about who will be the speaker and the details, I will share with you in the email. So when you are agree about it, we can publish the final like invitation in the magazine of Senior Center, which will be published almost end of February. And other than this, also Aisha offered another date, which is July 26th, which is National Day of People with Disability. She said that we can do another thing on that date, which I think it's in the next financial year. So I thought if this event goes well, we can think about that one in July 26th, but I want to know your ideas too, of course. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. And so the cost, so the cost depends on how many people attend. You talked about 35, but she is saying that she would like more than that.
Yes, and then with now if we just count on 35, it would be 350 for lunch and refreshment. I'm still not sure how much will be the price for the speaker person. So I think overall it could be around 500 if we can afford that amount. But she said that because they can help also, if 500 is more than enough for us, we can tell Aisha that we can pay less and they can help.
Yeah.
What do you think? How much money we can?
Well, I think we agreed on 500, that we asked for an increase to our budget, and we said that we wanted to have $500 to use towards an event. So this, sounds like a good event to me. So my thought would be that we let her know that we've got 500 in the budget to contribute, and that any additional required they would need to come up with, but we could contribute the 500.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
But we need to vote on that. So
yeah. Should we
So
vote
are we
now?
are we at the point, of voting on that now, or do we need to confirm that with Aisha when this event is scheduled for when?
For April 3rd, because
April
she
3rd.
believed in cold months, seniors are less probable to join.
Yep, that makes sense. So, I know a few who are. So,
So I'm not sure if we should vote now or later.
Yep. Tatiana, what is your thought on this?
So I think this is your budget. It was a little different, I think. So I think you could vote on so just to confirm, parties, you're confirming that the event will take place on April 3rd, and you're requesting up to $10 a person for lunch for about 35 people, so for up to a total of $350.
Yes, and the speaker person.
And the speaker fee, so for a total of $500, not to exceed $500.
Yeah, yes.
So I just want to remind everyone that our budget is 550 altogether, so,
Right, but we requested an increase, remember?
oh, that's right. But that will be
Right.
effective, that will
Right.
be effective July 1st of 2025.
Okay,
If it
but for
passes.
this year, we've not spent any money because we bought the plaque for Serenity Nails with last year's money,
With
right?
last year's money,
Yeah.
yes, so we have $150 available in the budget. So, yeah, so your motion will be for not to exceed $500 for
Yeah.
speaker and lunch for this event.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because last year we ended up not spending all our money and we handled a couple $100 back. So we asked for more money. I want to make sure that we spend the money this year. And then we'll have $500 more than this next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so should we vote now on not exceeding more than $500 for the event with Kath on April 3rd?
I've been supportive doing that. Jeannie, Tatiana, anybody else?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to wait. If
Right.
we know we want this, well, let's go ahead and vote. So I will receive a motion.
I will move to spend no more than $500 on the April 3rd Cath event.
Mm-hmm.
Second?
Is there a second? Okay. Tatiana,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Alexa,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Karen,
Yep.
Jeannie, yes. Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
thank you for all your work on this.
Yep.
Now to the committee updates. Stephanie,
I know I owe you still some pictures of the dividers, but we did have to send them back because they weren't sturdy enough and order another set of dividers for the same cost. But I do know that I still owe you guys pictures for
Oh.
them in the classroom. So that was just a small bit of a delay. I was going to mention the film series that we, are promoting as well from the school district, but it is a nice opportunity for the community to come together to have conversations about how we can support, our students and our young adults in the community. And it was a very nice get together next week. The last thing I just wanted to mention was that we in the district are using a consultant to take a look at our intensive learning center, which is our program that runs preschool to postgrad in the district. We have programs in two of our elementary schools, our preschool, two of our elementary schools, and then our middle schools and high school. But we are bringing a consultant in to look at how our program is currently running and to make some recommendations for us on how to potentially more efficiently run the program for the future and or staffing opportunities for our students. So that's in process now, but happy to share some of those recommendations and things with the group once the report's finished. We're just moving into the focus group section of the review. So we expect the report sometime in the spring.
great. Any questions for Stephanie?
Thank you.
Well, we don't have Felix to report on accessible parking. Kelly, do you have anything to mention?
The only news I had was the change in the fine of the handicap. That was the only thing I had.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The only news that I had was the handicap going from 100 to 200.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Tatiana took my news.
Lynn, anything to report with diversity initiative?
Yes, Monday is Martin Luther King Day, and they are having a program at the high school. It starts at 9:30 with refreshments. The actual program runs from 10 to 11:30 with assorted speakers, and I guess one of the choirs from the local schools is going to be participating as well, so it should be good.
Great. And Maureen, I know the emergency preparedness is not meeting regularly, or they're meeting less often. Anything to report?
I reached out to Kristen Scoble, who's the emergency management administrator, just to ask. She had told me last time they were meeting quarterly. I hadn't seen any agendas or anything come out, any meeting notices, so I asked if there was something coming up. She said we currently do not have a meeting planned, as we are reworking our bylaws and have to officially get members to the committee sworn in. So for right now, nothing's going. I didn't know about that, so I'm glad I reached out. I just responded that I'm okay, thank you for letting me know, but I asked if I could make sure that she used my personal email address, that could she just send me the meeting notices when they do actually agree on a meetings calendar. So she said she would.
Okay, thank you. Are there any new items of business?
No, we covered a lot of territory.
We did. We got a lot done. We have some items that we know will appear on our February agenda. And that will be at our regular third Tuesday. And then March will be on the second Tuesday.
Yes.
Well, actually, so the third Tuesday is school vacation week, and that's a time that we have often had to change the meeting. But does it work for all of you on the 18th?
Tatiana, you? That good for
It
you?
works for me, yeah.
All right.
I'm fine with that, so I don't know if anybody else has a conflict.
Okay,
Fine
with
me.
that,
So someone won't be there from the school, but I will make sure for March that I have the pictures.
Okay.
okay, terrific. I will accept a motion now to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Do we have to roll call?
Yep.
Tatiana,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Alexa,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Karen, Jeannie, yes. And that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Stay
Bye.
warm.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Stop recording. Bye.